What if history had taken a different turn? What if the Crusaders hadn't just come and gone, but stayed? What if they had ultimately won the Holy Land and maintained permanent control? In this alternate world, the Kingdom of Jerusalem survives, transforming into a long-lasting Christian monarchy, backed by the major powers of Europe. The city of Jerusalem becomes both the symbolic and practical capital of global Catholicism. Over generations, the Crusaders intermarried with local populations, giving rise to a unique Levantine Latin culture, a fusion of European and Middle Eastern traditions that reshaped the cultural landscape of the region. With the Papal Palace now located in Jerusalem, the course of history changes dramatically. No modern state of Israel emerges. Zionism never takes root, and there is no Balfour Declaration. The British Mandate of Palestine takes on a vastly different form, or never materializes as we know it. Jerusalem evolves into a Vatican-style city-state placed under international protection, becoming both a spiritual and economic hub like Mecca. Security is serious business. In this timeline, an elite armed force from Armenia replaces the Swiss Guard as the Pope's protectors. And when it comes time to elect a new pope, the papal conclave expands, now including representatives from Middle Eastern nations alongside traditional cardinals. Due to the papacy's central presence, Jerusalem becomes one of the most heavily guarded cities on earth. In place of the modern Israeli defense forces, Christian military orders, revived and modernized, serve to protect the spiritual authority of the city. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict never unfolds in this version of history, but tensions persist, now shaped around Christian-Muslim relations and long-standing divisions with local Arab tribes. In this world, Holocaust survivors do not emigrate to Israel. Instead, they settle in Europe or America. The regional threat of terrorism shifts from nationalist causes to interreligious motivations, reflecting the new geopolitical realities. A Crusader-style legacy of security and checkpoints remains. Jerusalem's geography is now divided into zones of control. Even sacred Islamic sites, like the Dome of the Rock and Al-Aqsa Mosque, may fall under papal stewardship or shared governance, negotiated through interfaith diplomacy. The Renaissance might have looked very different. Leonardo da Vinci himself could have spread his genius to the east, influencing architecture and engineering beyond Europe. But internal tensions still exist. Christian sectarian rivalries between Orthodox and Catholic traditions remain a potential flashpoint. Meanwhile, Arab Christian communities grow in political and military power, gaining influence they never had in our timeline. The Arab-Israeli Wars of 1948, 1967, and 1973 never occurred. The region of Palestine evolves as a Christian-majority autonomous area, reshaping the region's religious identity. In this reimagined Middle East, Lebanon and Syria emerge as stronger players in Arab Christian diplomacy, and the United States may treat Jerusalem not just as a holy site, but as a spiritual partner in policy and power. However, the region doesn't stay quiet. Turkey might assert Islamic claims to Jerusalem, pushing back against papal authority. Russia, too, could extend its influence, citing Eastern Orthodox ties to Christian holy sites. As a response, Islamic movements like the Muslim Brotherhood may rise earlier than they did historically, now opposing papal dominance rather than Zionism. With no Tel Aviv as the regional startup capital, innovation finds new homes in Amman, Beirut, and Cairo, reshaping the technology landscape of the Middle East. Christianity becomes the most visible religion across the region, its image and theology shaped by Middle Eastern roots. Jewish holy sites, in this version of reality, are preserved, potentially turned into museums or shared spaces under multi-faith governance. Catholic influence spreads deep into Jordan, Syria, and Egypt, turning the region into a new epicenter of religious authority. Global Christianity is no longer centered in Rome, but takes on a distinct Middle Eastern identity, both in doctrine and in appearance. A permanent multinational peacekeeping force, perhaps backed by the UN or a coalition of Catholic nations, ensures Jerusalem's neutrality and the security of the papal state. In this city, the Jewish community remains a protected minority, guaranteed rights by international and ecclesiastical law. Arab nationalism, in turn, shifts focus, centered now on other historical grievances or the broader goal of pan-Arab unity. Still, Jerusalem remains a deeply sensitive and symbolic issue. Jordan, or its historical equivalent, maintains custodial authority over Muslim holy sites, working directly with the papacy and global institutions to manage religious affairs. European Catholic nations play an active diplomatic role, tying their foreign policies to Jerusalem's stability and religious balance. Without the events of 1948 and beyond, the Palestinian refugee refugee crisis would never have occurred in the same form. While displacement from other conflicts may still happen, the region's demographics follow a different trajectory. Jerusalem has become one of the most expensive cities in the world, creating social divisions, economic pressure, and demographic shifts. A unique real estate market arises, catering to religious institutions, NGOs, and the global elite, all seeking a presence in the holy city. To keep peace, permanent interfaith councils, Christian, Muslim, Jewish, and others, are established, managing holy sites and resolving disputes with diplomacy and care. Above all, the papal presence guarantees religious freedom enshrined in international law, protecting access to sacred sites for all faiths. This is what the world might have looked like if the Papal Palace were in Jerusalem.